This will only be a short episode today. I I really wanted, so at the start of today I had a little plan. I have this little notebook, like a physical book where I write stuff in. And my plan was to go through a speech, this fluency book, stuttering book. Is by Lee Levette. He's quite a controversial figure in the stuttering community, especially on Reddit and on the Discord server. People fucking hate this guy's guts. Um, but I'll touch more on him in a minute. But to be honest, I've just been chilling this evening. I've literally just been just on Instagram. I made a post on Instagram. I don't think I've mentioned it here just yet, but I went to Australia fairly recently. I was there for a few weeks, and every week or so, I'm just trying to post a picture on my Instagram just for me. Um, but that actually leads me into another podcast idea, which I do want to touch on. So this podcast, I have entitled it "Relearning How to Speak." I was thinking about making a second podcast, "Relearning How to Live," and it's about since I've isolated myself quite substantially over the last few years, that podcast would be focused on connecting with friends, maybe even dating. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I want to prep a social media account to, interact with people and to show people who I am and what I do. So in the back of my mind, I've been doing that. I've made this Instagram account back in 2023 and I've been posting pictures very sparsely, but I've just been trying to post fairly regular-ish pictures once a week just from my trips, just so I can kind of build on that. And why am I talking about this? So a part of this podcast and a part of this whole project is just to talk more. So I'm trying to get out everything in my mind and I'm trying to say it, because as I touched on from the previous episode when I was analyzing this shit, a big part of the speech disfluency comes from not speaking and from being in my room alone, not speaking. And yes, even though I'm alone in my room right now, instead of thinking and being in my head too much, I want to start verbalizing things. I want to start talking when I'm thinking. I want to think out loud so I can physically talk and I can connect my brain to my mouth muscles, if that makes sense. Like my brain and my mouth are very disconnected, and I'm trying to connect them. So I feel like some of these episodes will be very much a stream of consciousness, but that is most definitely for me helpful because that's a part of it, because that is part of communicating. It's free thinking, it's thinking on the spot. Which goes into my other point about my project Instagram account. It's called Faith in Progress. I've actually found this really cool Instagram account. I don't know if he's British. Is he British? I think he's American. That conversation. Now, Oprah is an absolute genius. Nah, he's definitely British. Even though his location says New York City, so he's possibly British living in New York City. And his account is called progress.playground. Which is funny because my Instagram handle also has the word progress in it. But he is I want to say a speech coach. So I think it's called reposting. It's a fairly new Instagram feature where you can just like repost reels and posts onto your account. Yeah, so he's a coaching entrepreneur. Oh no, sorry. He's a speech and communications coach, and his description is coaching entrepreneurs and professionals to speak with influence and poise. Now, obviously, this is a paid fucking coach, but he's putting a lot of reels out. He's putting a lot of content out, which I feel like is really important. Now, part of this knowledge phase will be me deep diving into certain accounts like this. So I've actually followed this account and I've reposted certain reels I feel like will be helpful for me. Now I've not done a deep dive because he does have a lot, and I do feel like this is what I need. So I'm very thankful and I'm very lucky that I've found this account. There's a lot of good content here, and it's all for free. That's why I'm thinking, what's the point of advertising that you're selling coaching services when, to be honest, you're probably putting a lot of your good content out there for free anyway? But I get it. Coaching on a one-to-one level is definitely worth it, and that is something that I'm definitely um, into pursuing. So I've followed this account, and in the knowledge phase, I will most definitely be, using um, not only this account but any other accounts I feel like will be useful. So that's good. And one of the reels that I saw this morning was him literally talking about connecting your brain to your mouth muscles, and it's something that you have to train. And I can't remember what game it is, and I will most definitely be playing this game at certain points during this podcast. But it's about literally just saying a sentence, and then the last word of that sentence needs to be the start of a new sentence. So I can't remember the examples that he did, but I was even thinking during watching that, if I would have to do that, I'd get really flustered and really nervous and really anxious because I find it really difficult to speak on the spot on my own, let alone in front of other people. So podcasts like these, clips like these will most definitely help, even if I'm not doing anything extremely noteworthy in here. I guess we can compare episodes like this to the Pokemon show when, you know, there's a lot of filler episodes, right? And a lot of animes like that. I remember Naruto was a bit like that. I'm trying to think, what's the other one? One Piece is a bit like that, where you've got like in a season of say like 50 episodes, you should only really watch like 10 of them to really get it, and then everything else is just filler. You know what I mean? And I actually quite enjoyed filler episodes when I used to watch Pokemon. Um, yeah. Um, so yeah, I really wanted to touch on today because I had a call. I think it was the previous episode. When I returned back from work, I stated how um, I avoided a call. I was not meant to call someone, but I wanted to call someone, but I just didn't do it. One, because I was busy. Two, because I didn't really wanna, but I really made an effort to hop on a call with someone during work, and she was super nice. She was a Spanish lady, I believe, or if not, she resides in Spain. And it was a super quick call. And after it, like after I hung up, it took a little while, but it sort of clicked like, damn, that was a really good call. That was a really good discussion and a really good conversation. Now prior to the call, I did have to prep a little bit and I had to kind of write down on a notepad roughly what I wanted to say. I didn't really follow it completely, but I feel like it's useful doing that sometimes. Otherwise, like in in case I go blank, it's a bit of a safety net for me. It's a bit of a crutch. I didn't really use it, but in case I needed it, it was definitely there. But it was good. And after the call, hung up, and it took me a little while because I don't normally celebrate stuff like that. But a big part of this is celebrating the wins, especially the small wins. And I was like, you know what? I was so confident in that call. I was so articulate. I was so clear with my messaging. I pronounced every word really clear. My pacing was fantastic, and I had no speech disfluencies during that entire call. And It was good. It was good. I didn't over talk. I didn't under talk. It was just perfect. And that's what I love. That is what I love to do. Just, man, these small conversations, but the shit's good, man. I'm very happy that that went very well. Um, and yeah, and afterwards, I just started saying to myself, I need to, you know, say these, I believe they're called mantras, or just these affirmations, should I say. I like talking. I can talk. I was saying affirmations like people aren't scary or I shouldn't be fearful of people. But then I'm using the word scared and fearful. So I'm not sure if that has the opposite impact. So I'm trying to, I mean, I'd have to do research on that anyways. But I was thinking, you know, do I just need to say positive affirmations like I speak well, I I'm great at talking, I can articulate perfectly, like words like perfect and words like good, words like great, words like fantastic, words like fluent, instead of words like fear and shit like that. And I was looking at another Instagram account. He's not a speech coach or he's not anything like that. He's just a general kind of businessman. But he does have a slight link, and I saw him on LinkedIn. I was following someone on LinkedIn who I work with, and she's pretty quiet. And she's quite reserved. And I saw that she reposted this post on LinkedIn from this guy. I believe his name is Timothy something or other. Let me go on Instagram. Um, 1 second. Okay, I'm on it. Timothy Amu. Hope I didn't butcher his last name. And he's just like a business kind of motivational speaker, businessman, entrepreneur. So it seems. I don't know how much you can really trust LinkedIn influencers, to be honest. Um, but I remember his LinkedIn post that she reposted, and it said something like, you know, he had a stutter for years, but he just works through it, and now he's a really successful businessman. He's really articulate. You hear him in his videos. He can really speak well. And I believe he's from London, or if he's not from London, he's grown up in London, I believe, or just in the UK. I don't know specifically where, but yeah, I saw that post and I favorited that post, or I saved that post on LinkedIn. Came back to it maybe a month or two ago, and yeah, just sort of started following him on Instagram, and he's more or less just a motivational influencer, but he does put interesting posts out, and not really about speech or stuttering or anything like that. Not that I've seen. Nothing about articulating yourself or communicating well. Just more about mindset and business shit. But he does make interesting posts about books and shit. So I've got a little list of books which I'd like to read in response to some posts that he's made. That's definitely an account that I want to do a deep dive on as well, just to see if he's ever broached the topic of speaking and how to speak a bit better, and maybe certain speaking exercises that he does. Because I feel like, because if I just picture the people who I work with, can I fathom these people, sitting at home doing vocal exercises to speak? I don't think so. These people speak really well, they're so articulate, but I believe they just do it naturally. And I think a lot of people can just speak and socialize and communicate really naturally. And I believe I'm just not one of those people. But I think I shouldn't even say that, because I do think you can learn things. And I do believe at a certain age, it's expected that you have talked a lot during your life. So speaking and communication and even the very granular things like pronunciation and articulation, shit like that just is second nature, and it is just natural to speak well and not have any speech disfluencies. And I really wonder if it's just a people thing. Like, is this something that I need to be working on for the rest of my life? Or will there be a point maybe in, 10, 20 years, let's just say, where I don't really need to have a real hands on with this and I can just kind of go along with my normal life without having to, allocate time in my day every day to practice speaking and to do speech exercises. If I'm thinking about it logically, I do believe I will get there one day if I keep on at it. That's the thing. I need to keep at it. I need to read out loud frequently, which to be honest, I've not been doing. I guess um, during these podcasts, I guess technically I have because I've been reading out loud and I've been talking out loud. In my average day to day, I never used to do that, and I believe that's kind of where I've been lacking. I have little experience, and I do believe a big part of why that call today really went very well is because I have been talking more. I have had two, nearly 2 hour podcasts where I've just been speaking non-stop. Now, probably it's bad habit speaking, which is what I've been doing for 2 hours. I have kind of caught on how I've been speaking very quickly and I'm jumping from one thought to the other. And I've 100% noticed during this call, which so far is only 16 ish minutes, how I've been saying filler words a lot. For example, like and That's definitely something that I want to cut out. But in the grander scheme of things, I'd rather say words like and like and not have any speech disfluencies. But obviously, I'm trying to get everything in one sort of go to try and be as efficient as possible. I'd and is also a filler word which I definitely need to cut out. So that's my plan. And a big reason why I want to do this is I want a career. I've been working in compliance for about 5 years now, and I'm at the same position where I was about 5 years ago. I'm still at an entry level position, and I know in my head the work that the work that I put out is of a senior is standard. It's a high level standard. And my manager has told me several times I need to work on my soft skills to progress to the next level. Knowledge wise, I can do it. It's just put me in a room and I don't say anything. Put me in a call, I don't say anything. Or if I do really try to talk, it's almost like there's a physical barrier and I'm trying to break it through, and then I finally break it through and I just stutter anyway. So it's like you can't put me in front of clients or you can't put me in front of even internal employees. It's not good. So there's room for improvement there, and that's what I really want. Because I really want a career. Respectfully, I want more money. That's why I want a career. Because I want more money. So yeah. Another thought that's just popped into my head: some of these side quests podcasts, which I will most definitely be titling this side quest, because I think it's important for me to distinguish what podcast episodes are about either the awareness stage, knowledge stage, practical stage, any of that shit, and what podcasts are just me kind of shooting the shit. Either, and one idea that I have is I've got a couple books which I have been meaning to read for a while. I've been trying to do maybe 1 or 2 pages a day on one of the two books which I've got, but I've not been consistent with it. And I feel like this is probably a good opportunity for me to just practice reading out loud. So there may be certain episodes where I'm just reading a book for maybe 20, 30 minutes if it's a bit late because it is nearly 9:30. I've spent a lot of the day just kind of chilling and on Instagram, which I don't want to beat myself up too much about. I do have this tendency to be addicted to anything, but really addicted to laziness. Certain people call it procrastination. Yes, it is to a degree, but I think I'm just really addicted to being lazy. After a long, hard day of work, or after a long, hard week of work, I just want to sit on my bed. I want to binge eat. I want to just doom scroll on Instagram. I wanna, I wanna, what you call it? Just I sometimes I don't even have the effort to watch movies. I literally just want to sit and doom scroll for whole days at a time. Sometimes I don't even have energy to play games. Sometimes when I am playing games, that's just what I do. I'm just playing games for hours upon hours upon hours and days upon days. And it's something that I've always been aware of, but it's something that I feel like I need to not only have awareness of, but definitely try and stamp it out. It's really hard to snap out of it when you're really in that lazy, relaxed mode, and you know that you've worked really hard during either the day or the week. You don't really want to sit on your laptop and have a 2-hour podcast episode when you've been, I guess, I've had a good day with my speech. But that's the thing, I can't become complacent. I don't want to make excuses because that's what I do and that's what I have done for years. I've tried to do self improvement for years. I've tried to read self help books. I've tried to follow online guides on how to articulate well, and I've been trying to do it. And there've been times I've been trying to read for 10, 20, 30 minutes every day, and I get to it and I do it, and then I'll do it for like a week or two, and then I see good results, and then I think, oh, I don't need to do this anymore. I I'm fine, and then I stop, and then I go back into remission. I guess is what I could call it. So I really want to keep up with this, even if I'm just shooting the shit and I'm talking absolute nonsense like I am right now in a side quest episode. This is still beneficial for me. I do feel like I should keep on speaking my mind like this. That is definitely engaging my brain and my mouth muscles. But I definitely do want to get through some books. I definitely want to upgrade my vocabulary as well. I feel like because I have speech fluency, sometimes I dance around certain words and I try and interject other words which I may not have in my common vocabulary. So I do feel like I have a good vocabulary in me, but I feel like it could be better. And especially when I'm trying to think on the spot and I'm trying to speak on the spot, my mind goes blank. I swear a lot. That's definitely something which I've picked up on during these podcast episodes that I've been swearing. Not, I guess, not a whole lot during these calls because it is just me on my own. But yeah, when I'm speaking to other people, yeah, definitely, it's a huge, huge crutch. So that's that. So tomorrow is going to be Thursday. Let me just check my calendar. I don't feel like I've got anything. No plans tomorrow. No. Oh, saying this, I may have a date lined up over the weekend. I kind of don't want to go though, to be honest. I don't know anything about this girl. We've been speaking for a little while. I believe her name's Elaine. See, I have a lot of dates like every couple of months, and nothing really works. And a big part of why that doesn't work is because of my nerves, my fears, my anxieties around being around people, needing to talk to people, really going in my shell. She's alright. I'm not really too interested in her, if I'm being brutally honest, but one thing that I really want to do is I really want to connect with more people. And even if I just go out on dates and it doesn't really work, normally what I do is I just kind of end it. Like, I just kind of just leave it. But I, I I should probably try just to make an effort just to keep up a friendship if possible. That is hard because some people, if you don't have any emotional or uh, romantic interest in people that you have met from dating apps, people just don't really want to talk to you because it's a bit of a waste of time. This one girl who I was talking to a couple months ago, I was speaking to her for maybe a month or two, and it was going really well. But met up with her, I was really shy, really awkward, very socially withdrawn, wasn't really the best, and she just straight up said, maybe a few days later, look, it's not gonna work out. It's just a friend thing. But she pretty much said in her message, you know, well, she implied that she would rather just not talk, and she'd just rather go and find other people. But I mean, she was weird, and she was definitely a bit of a meanie, and she definitely was bragging about cutting people out, and there's a lot of red flags with her. So I'm actually kind of glad that disintegrated. Um, Yeah, and I did make a promise to myself after that one, after that day, not to go on dates with people that I'm not interested in, and I know that's what I'm just planning to do. But I want to use it to my advantage, even if ultimately I'm not compatible with this person, which I think I probably won't be. She's wildly different to me. I mean, no, she's fairly similar to me, but just how she's grown up. I think she even has a kid, and she's like a good couple years younger than me. I don't know how old she is. She's like 22, I think, maybe 23. She's quite young, but she's got a kid. So, yeah, she makes great decisions with her life, I guess you could say. I shouldn't say that because my mum was a single mum, but yeah, interesting. Um, I'm just trying to fill some air just to make this up until half an hour. Let me try and think. Oh, I've got a meeting. Oh, yes, let's think about tomorrow. I've got a meeting tomorrow. We do this meeting bi-weekly, it's every 2 weeks, and almost definitely have to talk in it. It's just a general kind of compliance meeting where we track and oversee and manage all of the open records that we have currently in our system. And I normally don't say that much during those calls. I'm normally really shy, man, and really fearful to speak. So I'm gonna see what happens tomorrow. I'm gonna try and go in that call with positive thoughts, positive vibes, and chant these good affirmations to myself a few times to hopefully get it to have a good call, even if I don't need to speak that much. I don't think I will need to speak that much, to be honest. So, yeah, we've got that. And then tomorrow, my plan is because I don't really have anything else planned for the day. Tomorrow, what I really want to do is start on that Lee Lebet book. I didn't really touch on it as much as I thought I would, but yeah, he's someone who shares the same sentiment as me that people ultimately can improve their speech by, what I'm saying, people can improve their speech by learning public speaking methods and tips and vocal articulation, altering your voice register, and using certain crutches where you can to avoid speech disfluency to then not have a speech disfluent episode to then further reinforce in my brain that I am speech that I have air quotations a speech disfluency when in reality it's just a bad habit. And I fully agree with him. I think he's definitely correct. So I'm gonna read his book. I've tried to read his book a few times. It's really long. It's really wordy. But I'm gonna try and sieve out the good shit in there. And he's got a YouTube channel. as well. So I'm definitely gonna do a bit of a deep dive on that. That's why I really wanted to keep this Saturday free so I can really have a whole day of just working on this self improvement shit. But it's all right. I guess real life practice with someone trying to talk is also good as well. Um, yeah. Okay. Cool. This has been my little side quest episodes, and thank you, and good night.